This is Danny with QuadLugs, and we're going to be doing the electronics on the Mini XL Quad. Last time we left off, we had the frame put together, and we're going to go ahead and take the top deck off. I pre-cut some Velcro that we're going to be putting on the top and below. And there we have the inside. Now we're going to be using a Q-brain, and if you've been watching our videos, you know, I'm really sold on this. This just makes it so simple to set up a quad or a tri. And I've actually used this on an X8 also, 2 of them, and they work great. Anyway, I'm using a 25 amp on this one, and as I normally do, I run all my leads out, my control and my battery lead out of the right hand side, and I do that so the controls from each one that I build are pretty consistent, and also the way I have the control board, and I'm using a KK on this one, it's set up to receive the controls on the right hand side. And you know, I do this to be consistent on what I do, because I can just move the controller from, you know, multi-rotor to multi-rotor or machine to machine, and you know, everything fits on there really easy. So anyway, I pre-cut the wires, and this is going to sit right on top of this half by half. A little bit different than most. Most they sits down on the wood, on the flat wood itself, but this is going to sit on the half by half. I went ahead and did a test fit prior just to see what length I needed. I left them a little bit longer than probably I need, or I cut them a little bit longer than what I necessarily need. But again, I can use this on another one. And most everything, if you've been watching, most everything I do, I try to use components in them, you know, between the ESC, the motor, and the controller, and of course the lugs. That can be expanded or contracted and made into different quads or tris and different sizes. And by doing that, you know, it saves a lot of money, and you can experiment with a lot of different machines or multi-rotors. And not only that, but you know, as time goes by and you get bored with one, I mean, you can change it up and still use the components, and it's a little bit, you know, cost effective that way, because the only thing you're spending money for actually is you know, the wood, which is really reasonable, and of course your time to do it. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and get started here, and we're going to go ahead and slide this in, and it's going to sit on top again of the wood, and it catches it like 1/8 of an inch on either side on top. So we'll just kind of, you know, line it up this way and this way, because it needs to sit on top. So we'll line it up both ways, and sorry, I'm going to turn it away from you there to be able to see. So we're going to again get it lined up both ways. I particularly, like I said, on this one, I'm going to have it coming out the right hand side. We're going to use a little CA. Now the CA that you're using here, we put it on 4 corners. It'll hold it very, very good, no problem. But if you need to take it off, you can actually pop this thing off, you know, when you want to move it to another one, or if you have an accident, you know, you need to do some repairs. I'm using thin CA, and just a little bit, and it'll wick itself in, and I put it right at the base of the ESC in the wood, and we'll turn around and hold it here, and again right at the base, and it's just a little bit, it doesn't take much at all, and we'll let it sit up there for a second and That's all you need to adhere that. Just a slight bit right at the ESC in the wood on the four corners. And, you know, that's after you've lined it up. And we'll let that set for just a second. While that's setting, we're going to go ahead and get our motors on. I use the Q-Brain, and of course that's a, you know, a name brand, but or the name of it, the brand name of it. But there's actually a few different ones being made now, so you can get them from 10 amp, you know, all the way up to 30 amp now. So it eliminates the bother of the you know, of individuals being mounted. It eliminates the power distribution. Yeah, it's really good. It comes with the, you know, really, you know, with longer wires, so you know you're covered there. You can leave them the length like I do sometimes and just curl them up, and sometimes you need the longer length. And then sometimes like this, you know, we just cut them to size or cut them to whatever we need them to be. Now I'm just putting 2 wires on these, I mean 2 tie bands or zip ties on these motors. And that's all I usually run with this one, but you know, it's kind of smart to have 4 on there, I guess. And I'm gonna go ahead and let's get these put on. And it's real quick and easy to do, the electronics on these. I'm using 20, let me double check. Okay. 220814. I think it's 1400 kV. These are Supo motors. And I've had real good luck with them so far. Now, the one good thing about this is that, and I have one that I'm flying with, you know, 2212s. So, you know, I run an 8x4 prop on here. And with that, you can run some good sized motors. And if you want to go fast, you can go fast. So, you know, after the motors come with these connectors on. So, you know, after you resolder these or sharpen them on the ESC and put your connector, your whatever battery connector you want to use, man, you know, the rest of the installation is crazy fast. Okay, now this should be, it's tight, no problem. So let's go ahead and get these motors hooked up here. I'm gonna go ahead and run these back like this. I'll show you here in a second. Now we'll check rotation in a minute, and or before we fly it. This is gonna be, you know, set in here like this. So I'm not going to bore you with checking rotation, but this way we can get it put together and you can see what it looks like. And this is going to roll back like that also. So you can see how fast this, after you get this prepped, how fast this thing can roll out. It's pretty amazing. Or how fast it can go together. Okay. Now, this is going to be the front because I'm running this out of the right hand side. So ESC number 3 is going to be number 1 motor. So 3 is our white wire, which it's ready to go. Motor number 2 is going to be ESC number 2. So that's our orange. So when we wire it up, orange is going to be number 2. Number 3 motor is going to be number 1 on the ESC, or number 1 ESC, so that's going to be red. So number 3 motor is going to be red, and then number 4 motor is going to be 4 ESC, which will be brown. So it's going to be white. Let's see. Yeah, white, orange, red, and brown. Okay, so we're going to fold these back. And what you want to make sure it doesn't get between the wood and the tab there. And we'll just do that by, taking a peek at it in here. And see if we're clean on all of it. Looks good. That one is. So let me hold this together and we'll move that. And one wire is underneath there, or between there, so we moved it. We're in good shape now. Just make sure. Yep, looking good. Just double checking here. Looking good. So we'll go ahead and start a screw here, and I'm still holding this together. And we'll start a screw. And we'll start another one on the other side. And I tell you, it really goes together fast after you have your soldering done. Just cut the wires and do the soldering. What I do too is the wires, they're pretty long on these 4-in-1s or the Q-brains. And when I cut the wire, I save that wire, when I go to trim it down, because I'll have a connection on there already if I need it for an extension later on. So I save that wire, and works out pretty good. So that's just how it looks. It comes out by doing it that way. It looks pretty neat. And these are the Velcro wire ties I use quite a bit. And again, if you've seen the videos, you've seen me use these. You can use them over and over, and these are being used over from another one. Wrap it around, and there you go. And it makes a pretty neat job. We're going to do the same thing here. Now we still have to do the, check the rotation, but that's no problem. We can, just take this off, change it, put it back on. But let me go ahead and get these on. Now I'm doing this and I'm not cutting away on any of this because I want you to see just how, you know, after the wiring is prepped, you know, cut and the connections are soldered on, just how easy this thing goes together. Now as far as the wire length that I used on, you know, here, you know, I hate to give you a measurement that I use because everybody has a different, you know, they want a different look or they want it to go together a certain way. So, you know, best way to do it is, you know, I just bring these wires, the motor wires, stretch them out. Then I bring these around on however way I want to route it. And you saw how I routed it. I just came on the inside of these body mount lugs. And then I bring it here and then, you know, clip it off. So you just, you know, set yourself up a route. And that probably takes the longest time of doing it. I mean, the rest of this is, you know, with using the Q-brain or the 4-in-1, oh my gosh, it's fast. So I guess maybe the longest time to all of this is, you know, just taking your time to figure out, you know, a routing of the wire and how you want it to look. So, you know, there you are. I think that's coming out pretty good myself. Okay. Now, when we left off last time, and by the way, ESC's installed, wired in, motors mounted, battery connection, you know, you have it on, it's ready. You know, when you put your battery on here, no problem. I mean, just that simple, and just that fast the electronics is on. So, like I said, longest time is figuring out your wire routing off of your Q-brain or your 4-in-1, and you know, soldering these pieces on, or the connectors on. But even that, you know, it does not take long at all. This is the way I normally do with my Velcro. I'm going to put a piece. Let's see. I'm going to put a piece in the middle, and then on each end. And let's see how I cut this, and I think that's how I wanted it. And let me see. I'm going to go ahead and try to line that up as best I can. Put it down. And then now I put a piece on either side, you know, so I can put a good old Mobius, or, you know, if I'm going to put a separate, you know, FPV camera on top, or just whatever I, you know, want to be putting on here. And on the back, or that's the front, on the back would be, you know, a place for my transmitter, for, you know, FPV, or, you know, pretty much, you know, whatever you want it for. Now you could cut this around and get really fancy with it, and if I had more time I would, but, you know, that makes a pretty nice looking job. Now while we had this off, it had probably been, you know, a lot smarter to go ahead and do this, but I put a piece in here, and so that I can, you know, put a camera here if I want to, and here, and, you know, for whatever reason I want to put, you know, whatever I want to put there. And I go ahead and do that so it's ready, and you know, if I decide I want something in there, go with it. Now I guess, you know, I forgot but to do it then, but it should have actually been done when the deck was off. It'd have been a lot easier, but you know, it works. Let me see here. But yeah, it's like a lot easier to do it then. Actually, even before you put the ESC on, you can do that. But anyway, and it makes a really nice looking job, you know, so you have a good place for, you know, a good connection place there. So we'll go ahead and put this one on. See if I can slide it down in there. There we go. And now you have another connection point there, or I mean another place to put something. And that's the reason we ran these screws. Well, you know, we never did run these screws. Okay, I went ahead and put these screws in, these 4 screws. I used a 1/16 inch bit to drill the pilot hole, and we used 3/8 inch long screws to put in there. So now she's complete. And we're going to go ahead and put this Velcro. I use 2-inch wide Velcro, and usually that works really good. It fits most everything. And, you know, I get this at Lowe's, I think it is. And it's pretty reasonable. And it's good. It's good quality. I mean, it has a good grip. I've heard from a few guys that, you know, they had Velcro that wasn't holding really good, and I was like, so I guess there is different qualities on that. So that's that, and like I said, when we put the battery in, you have the opposite, you know, Velcro on the battery. It adheres to this, and you put the strap on, crazy, crazy strong. The little adapter keeps popping off. Okay. Now I'm going to grab a controller. Okay. So you can see that the way I have this set up, and I just do this because I move it from, you know, multi-rotor. And like I was saying on some of the other videos, is that, you know, I fly with factory PIDs, so I can move them between one and the other without, you know, any special accommodations. So we'll go ahead and hook this as number 1. What did we say? Orange was number 2. And red was number 3. Brown is number 4. And now to make it look pretty, you know, we can put a piece of, or put a zip tie. Make it look pretty. I guess maybe that's not the right word. Make it look nice. There we go. And, you know, plenty of room here when we put our battery on. So the last thing to do is check rotation, double check the controls and everything when we do that. And then go ahead and prop it out, take it out and try it. And put these other 2 screws in, by the way. And that pretty much completes it. I mean, it's ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and get these other 2 screws in. I'm going to check rotation. I'm going to get it propped out. and we're gonna go fly this thing. This is Danny with QuadLugs, and this completes the electronics on the Mini XL Quad. And please give it a try. I think you're really gonna like it.